Okay, get this. We've got this transcript, and it reads like, well, I don't even know, like someone took a Bollywood action flick and a MrBeast video, threw in a ton of cash, hit puree on the blender. That's what we're looking at today. The Indian Creator Olympics.
And it's presented as this huge, over-the-top competition
Right.
for Indian YouTube creators.
Yeah, like imagine CarryMinati going up against MrBeast. In Kelly, get this, Karam. Played with their legs.
It's absurd, right? But that's kind of the point. It's like they're holding up this funhouse mirror to the creator economy. You know, all those things, the competition, the money, these crazy stunts, like they're making us really think about what's actually going on.
Okay, so help me break this down. So the transcript never actually says who the host is.
Yeah.
But it's pretty obvious it's like basically the Indian MrBeast.
Right.
Millions of rupees are just being spent, cash prices everywhere. It's all very extravagant.
Yeah, totally. And that kind of sets the tone right from the beginning. It's all about one-upmanship, pushing the limits, showing off just how much money and influence these creators have. And don't forget, this is all happening on Indian YouTube, which is its own whole thing.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And speaking of, beasts, we've got a whole bunch of personalities in this thing.
Yeah.
Mr. Least, CarryMinati, Techno Gamers, MythPad, Gaurav Choudhary, Speed, the Fukra Insane guys. They're all here. And let me tell you, the trash talk is epic.
It's almost like a commentary on the whole creator community.
Yeah.
You see them taking these little jabs about each other's content, making digs about subscriber counts. It's pretty meta.
Yeah. Like when Techno Gamers is all, I'm going to rob a bank in my next GTA V video. And here's the thing, GTA V is like ancient history at this point, over 10 years old.
So that brings up a really interesting point, right? Like, is he out of touch, or is there something else going on here? Maybe it's the nostalgia factor, or maybe he knows his viewers just love that stuff, no matter how old the game is.
Meanwhile, we've got MythPat running around like a one-man show. He's live streaming, editing, playing PUBG, all at the same time.
Oh, and he's also reacting to Triggered Insane's stream. Like, how does he even do all of that?
It's wild, right? I think he's showing a different way of doing things. It's like this constant hustle, this 24/7 grind to stay relevant. Gotta wonder, though, is that even sustainable? Are these creators just going to burn out?
And then there's Gaurav Choudhary. You know, the guy with the super lavish lifestyle. He shows up with a chest of gold. A literal chest of gold.
It's like something out of a Bollywood movie, right?
Yeah.
But it also shows this trend we're seeing, not just in India. This whole aspirational thing about influencers, people want that life. The
Yeah.
wealth, the success, the dream,
Yeah, I know what you mean. Okay. But it gets weirder. Later on, Gaurav decides he needs 2,500 gold phone cases, covered in diamonds, to wait for it, unbox himself in a video.
You can't make this stuff up. I think that's when the satire is the strongest.
Yeah.
It's like they're pointing out how absurd all this is, like the lengths people will go to for views,
Right.
all the excess. Yeah, and it fits perfectly into Gaurav's persona, right?
Yeah,
Like he's all about pushing those boundaries, showing off his wealth, making a spectacle.
exactly. It's about building that brand, that image.
Right.
And on YouTube especially, sometimes you got to go big, to stand out.
So then we have Speed, who's just pure chaos. Like he's yelling Virat Kohli at the top of his lungs, trying to get subscribers. Virat Kohli, for anyone who doesn't know, is like this legendary Indian cricket player.
Yeah, it's hilarious. He almost breaks an expensive camera just from being so excited. The Speed's like the opposite of Gaurav. He's not about image. It's more like raw energy, just pure fun.
Yeah, like, hey, let's just have a good time. That kind of vibe.
Yeah, and that can be really appealing, right? Even if it's fake. It makes you feel like you're in on the joke.
But then the transcript says something interesting. It says, Indian YouTubers, they're good at pretending to be friends, but it's all business.
That's a pretty cynical take, but maybe it's true. Like, it's hinting that there's this competition underneath, that they're only collaborating for the views. More subscribers, more money. Makes you wonder, how much of what we see online is even real?
And speaking of the game, there's one more big player, MrBeast. He shows up on the last day with this translation challenge for CarryMinati.
And that late entrance, that's interesting, right? It's like, maybe they're saying something about global versus local fame. You know, MrBeast, he's this international star. And the Indian creators, they're still fighting for recognition in their own market.
And the whole thing ends with this constant barrage of subscribe,
Yeah.
like comment, like they're breaking the fourth wall or something.
Right. It's this reminder about how this all works. Creators need viewers. Platforms need creators. And we're caught in the middle. But what's really interesting is that even though this whole Creator Olympics thing is totally made up,
It tells us something real about the world of content creation.
Exactly. And that's what we'll keep talking about as we go deeper into this. Well, this bizarre source material, this transcript. It's almost like, it's holding up this magnifying glass to the whole creator economy. All the good, the bad, all the weirdness.
Speaking of weird,
Yeah.
um, did we mention Mr. Elise spends a night on the streets? It's like a
Yes.
challenge or
Yeah.
something.
That's a really interesting part. You have this guy surrounded by all this wealth and luxury, and then even if it's just for one night, he decides to experience, well, something totally different.
It feels, I don't know, a little tone deaf. Like he's turning poverty into entertainment.
Yeah, it definitely raises questions about, like, sensitivity, exploitation even. Is this a genuine attempt to connect? Or is it just another way to get those views? Hard to say for sure, but definitely something to think about, especially with all this influencer stuff going on.
Right. So back to the Creator Olympics. Day 2 starts with this challenge. It's who can sit the longest in front of.
Yep.
Beer biceps.
Now, Beer Biceps, he's this fitness influencer, really serious guy, big on self-improvement.
Yeah, and the transcript basically says he's, like, not the most fun to be around. The other creators are running away from him.
Which, when you think about it, it's kind of hilarious.
Right.
Like, you have Speed, CarryMinati, all these high-energy guys, and then you have Beer Biceps, Mr. Discipline. It's like different parts of the creator community all clashing.
Right, totally. And it shows how those differences, they can be funny,
Yeah.
but also lead to some conflict.
Yeah.
This transcript, I think it's making fun of those, those stereotypes about creators.
Yeah, for sure. And meanwhile, we also see the Fukra and Saiyan crew. Those three. Fukra and Saiyan, Triggered and Saiyan, round 2 hell. They're constantly arguing, like, who has the most subscribers? Who's the main character? You know how it is.
Oh, yeah, those classic ego battles.
Yeah.
They need each other to be successful, but at the same time, they're competing. It's actually pretty relatable, if you think about it, like any team project,
For sure. It shows how hard it is to, like, maintain these partnerships when everyone's trying to be the biggest star.
And then, get this, their argument, it catches the attention of, wait for it, Ranbir Kapoor.
Yeah, that's where things get really blurry. Like, is this real or is it staged for the video? We don't really know. The transcript doesn't tell us.
It definitely keeps things interesting. Like, you never know what's going to happen next. Who's going to show up or what crazy stunt they'll pull.
It's like, I don't know, a reality show, but turned up to 11. Pure entertainment. And speaking of stunts, remember Gaurav and his diamond phone cases? He needs those for a video where he unboxes himself.
Come on, that's just ridiculous.
I know, right? It's like the perfect example of how far creators will go. It's absurd, it's excessive, but you gotta admit, it gets people's attention.
And it's interesting, right? Like all these different strategies. Speed with his chaotic energy, Gaurav and his whole image thing, Mythpad trying to do everything at once.
Yeah. It shows how diverse this world is. You don't have to follow one path to be successful. They're all experimenting, adapting, trying to figure out what works.
And it's always changing. What works today might not work tomorrow. That pressure to stay relevant, it must be crazy.
Oh, yeah, especially in India. The audience is huge. The potential is massive. But so is the competition.
And one more thing, the transcript talks a lot about, like, editing. Post-production. There are these moments where they blame the editor for mistakes, jump cuts, things that don't make sense.
It's actually a clever way to, like, acknowledge that editing is part of the process. We forget these videos, even the ones that seem super spontaneous, they're actually carefully put together.
It makes you think, how much of this is real? How much is just for show?
That's a question for all media, right?
Yeah.
But especially online, the line between real and fake, it's so blurry. And it makes you wonder, are we, the viewers, part of the problem? Like, do we want to be entertained? Even if it means, sacrificing authenticity.
That's a good point. It's something to think about, for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the transcript. We can't forget about the subscribe, like, comment thing. It's everywhere.
It's like a running joke at this point.
It's funny, but also kind of annoying. Like, hey, we're just trying to watch, But they're always asking us to do something, participate, engage, be part of this whole thing.
Yeah. It reminds you that it's not just about entertainment. It's a business. Creators need us. Platforms need us. And we're constantly being told to, play our part.
And to get those eyeballs, it seems like anything goes. Exaggeration, drama, emotional appeals. It's all part of the game.
Makes you wonder, where's the line between genuine creativity and just doing whatever it takes to get views?
Yeah, it's a question we should keep asking ourselves as we go deeper into this wild world of Indian YouTube. So we've talked a lot about this Creator Olympics thing, the challenges, the personality, all the crazy stuff that happens. But what does it all mean? Like, what's the point?
Right, because all we have is this weird transcript. It's like a dream someone wrote down. So is it making fun of Indian YouTube? Is it trying to show us what goes on behind the scenes? Or maybe it's saying something about fame and money. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, it's definitely got some satire in it, right?
Yeah.
The challenges are so over the top. Everyone's arguing about subscribers, who's the main character, all that. It's ridiculous.
And that's what makes it interesting. Satire uses humor to point out things that are absurd.
Yeah.
It makes us question things we might normally just accept.
Yeah, and the transcript never actually says if this Creator Olympics is real or not,
Yeah.
which just makes it even weirder.
That's true. It's like, where's the line between real and fake? And that's something we see all the time online, especially with influencers. They're always playing a character, building a brand. Sometimes you can't even tell who the real person is anymore.
Right. In this transcript, it doesn't shy away from the bad stuff either. The egos, the competition, the pressure to always be making content, like how your success is just measured in numbers.
Yeah, it reminds us that this is a business. It might look glamorous, but it's tough. Everyone's fighting for attention, for sponsors, for money.
So what about us, the viewers? I mean,
Yeah.
what are we supposed to do with all this?
I think the important thing is to be like a smarter viewer. Don't just believe everything you see. Think about why they're making this content, what tricks they're using to keep you watching. Don't just take it all at face value.
Yeah, it's easy to just get caught up in the entertainment. But there's a whole system at work here. They want to influence us, whether we realize it or not.
Exactly. So we have to be aware of that. Ask ourselves, why am I watching this? What's it doing to me? That kind of thing.
So going forward into this crazy online world, remember what we've talked about, the stunts, the self-promotion, all that drama. Are they being creative or just trying to get views?
Yeah, good question. It depends. Every creator is different, every video is different, and everyone watching will have their own opinion. What matters is what you think, what you value, what do you want to support.
That's a good point. It's really up to us to decide what kind of online world we want to live in.
And there's always more to learn, more to think about, more to, dive deep into. So stay curious, keep asking questions. That's the most important thing.
And that's it for this deep dive. Thanks for joining us.